we have Willow Laufenberg and Sarah Rick.
Go ahead, Teresa, you stand.
She's nice, yeah.
Ooh.
I feel bad.
No, for all of them, right?
All right. Next we have Raylan McGee, who is also not here, and Teresa chose that one.
Teresa.
He likes her picture. I know I did too.
Oh, you have lots of
It's cute.
kind of worked out my pictures.
And our last one is Chip Hall, and Caleb chose Chip.
I was just gonna say. Do you guys call each other? Yes.
As President Barrett said, this is one of the highlights of our day, right, or this year, right? We can have students in front and see the great artwork that they do. A lot of times we get caught up in a lot of the other things, but this is the reason. On the back of our lanyards, or the things here, it says, what's best for kids, right? And that's something we always focus on. And having kids here and the families here always helps us remind us of that when we're making the decision. So thank you so much for giving up an evening and coming, and thank you all you artists for your great job.
Great job,
And
guys.
thank you, Ms. Nimmo, for being such a great teacher and for this idea. So that artwork, as I said, we will take these down and we will put those up for this next year. So they will hang here for the next year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
You are free to stay, but you, absolutely, it's a school night, you can go. I understand that totally.
Was there candy here?
I would run too.
Mo, you have to stay.
So that will be our next future board representatives.
Maybe.
Yes.
He's already dressing the part.
So for those just joining us, our, the technology is back up. We are back running. We were having some technical difficulties, so we missed, if you're just joining, we missed our swearing in of our new board member, our new student board member, Caleb Rotzel, and then we just did a presentation of student artwork that was chosen by the board members at the Lodi Fair. And that's the two pieces we've gotten to so far. I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, so we do not have any public input tonight. So now we are going to do our consent agenda items. So we have our minutes, and then we have our check listing for voucher reports, our credit card transaction report, and our voucher, our cover sheet. We have fundraiser request, wrestling barbecue dinner request. And we have, and actually, I should mention this every time when there is a fundraiser request. Obviously, if we approve it, it's going to be, so people know, what is it? Does it say the date on here? Oh, October 22nd. So the wrestling barbecue guys show up. Fundraiser reports, we have our football entertainment cards, our senior class powder puff game, our girls tennis brat stand, and our boys soccer alumni game and clothing sale. And we do not have any field trip request. And our committee recommendations for approval. And then under other, we have our girls swimming co-op, our girls hockey co-op, early graduation request, start college now applications, and a Wednesday night activity request. And we have resignations and retirements. We have one retirement, our business manager. We're We're not very happy about that, but okay.
We'll just pull it and not approve it.
That's true, yeah, maybe we won't. No. And then we have some resignations. We have our middle school boys basketball coach, assistant softball coach, primary school special education assistant, volunteer football coach, assistant volleyball coach, PBIS coach, and head golf coach. Under co-curricular, we have some wrestling coaches, head coach, 2 assistants, 2 at 50%, and 5 volunteers. We have high school, middle school volunteer wrestling coaches, 3 of them. Middle school wrestling coaches, head coach, and 2 assistants.
Yep, 1 assistant.
Oh, yes, 1 assistant, sorry, 2 volunteers. High school boys basketball coaches, we have a head coach, 3 assistants, and 2 volunteers. Middle school boys basketball coaches, 1 head coach, 2 assistants. High school girls basketball coaches, 1 head coach, 3 assistants, and a volunteer. Middle school girls basketball coaches, head coach, 2 assistants. Elementary and OSC Encore Building Department head. Primary school Encore Building Department head. Middle school trail trekkers assistant, and a play director. Sorry. Okay. Under crew, we have new 3 hires. Did I say new 3?
Yes, you
3
did.
new hires?
There you go.
Thank you. Middle school special education assistant under regular staff. Long-term primary school elementary OSC art teacher substitute. Long-term high school science teacher. Primary school special education assistant level 3. Distance education teacher. Long-term primary school OSC music teacher. And elementary OSC support staff increase. Under personnel, we have 3 leave without pay request. And that is it for consent agenda.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the additional approval of Ben Baltes as play director.
Motion by Terry, second by Sarah Ramish. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right. Now we have our administrative reports. We will start with our curriculum.
So the first item on the curriculum report is related to the 2024 state academic assessments. So recently the embargo was lifted on that by the state, and so we're able to share that data. I have a presentation that's prepared for tomorrow night's curriculum committee, and they will be able to review that data. I'll kind of walk them through it. If you look in board docs under the curriculum committee agenda, you'll be able to see that. This data is now released in a way that we can make it available to board members and the public. We actually have had this information internally since about this summer, and so our educators here locally during the pre-session, which is those days where they're here before students come, they spend time in content area teams reviewing the data, celebrating successes that we have, and identifying areas of closer inspection for adjustments and improvement. We have a lot to celebrate. We continue to see and recognize great academic growth in a number of areas where we and this board has made investment. At our high school level, if you look at our academic achievement, it continues to be near the top of the region. But there are also some areas when every time when we look at state assessment data when it's released, that we look at a little bit closer because it's an area for improvement. An example would be like our high school writing scores, for example, we notice have plateaued here over time, maybe took a little bit of a dip, so that's something where we're digging into that a little bit deeper and thinking about what that looks like. So always successes and always things to focus on, but our teachers have spent time doing that. If you're interested, you're feel free to take a look at that presentation I had prepared for the curriculum committee. Do you have any questions on that item? The next one is with the state assessment results. Usually a little bit after that release comes the school and district accountability report cards. I'm just giving you a heads up that we anticipate those will be released sometime in early November. As in the past, if you sat on the board, I will send you an email the morning that those are released with just a brief summary of areas, again, of strength and areas for improvement, and also a document that kind of gives you some additional details of the breakdown of those report cards. I'll also do a presentation for you at the board meeting after those are released. We do have those access to those internally right now, but there is an embargo on those, so we are working with our staff to kind of comb through those right now. And then the last one, I wanted to give you an Act 20 update. So there's a lot of things that we get to do with Act 20, from training to looking at resources, etc. One of the things is we are tasked with giving every student in grades 4K through 3 the new state early literacy screener called Ames Web. And so the legislature actually postponed that requirement where districts didn't have to give it until the winter assessment window. We decided we wanted to be a little ahead of the game, and it made sense for us to have that data early on, so we gave it during this fall assessment window. And with that, for students who have yet to reach the 25th percentile, specifically in most instances for the area of fluency, so oral reading fluency, like automaticity and how fast you can read, for example, they would qualify for what the state deems as a personalized reading plan. It's really just a document that outlines that we've noticed that's an area for continued growth, and so we need to do this about it. So we have given the assessment, we've created the plans, and at conferences coming up this week, we will be sharing with those families our next steps as a district to help them grow and improve in that area. This is common for how we have always done business in the Lodi School District. We give fall assessments, we identify within our systems and structures as a district what we're going to do next. We're just putting it in a document for parents now.
Okay. But this is something that Act 20 kind of required too, but we are,
Yes.
again, we're already doing it. So
Act 20 requires to create a formalized document that the parent is able to review
Okay.
and signs an acknowledgement form that they've reviewed it.
Okay. Thank you, Nick.
So I would just echo that, it's something we've always done, pieces of it, but it's been a heavy lift. I mean, thanks to Nick and Amy and Eric and Chambers and Katie Greer, they meet every Monday. We have a meeting to talk about how Act 20 implementation is going, what next steps we have to take. We've been meeting since last year. They have done a lot. It has been a heavy lift for our staff throughout. It seems when you send them back, it looks seamless.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of work that's being done, and so I just really appreciate all the work and effort that's been put forth to help our educators through this, and obviously help our students, and now our families through this as well.
Thank you all.
Can I ask a question? So in the sample reading plan link that was in here, is there something like, are gonna develop things for the parents to take home to work on with the kids? I know there was like it was kind of high level explanation. I don't know if high level is the word. Had a lot of big words in it, let's say, if you're not in education. So I think it would be helpful, I assume, if you're developing things that the kids can work on at home too, or that parents can work with them. Is that part of it?
That's very well stated. That was our agenda item for today. So one of the things is, as we're learning more about the early literacy screener and areas that it's identifying for continued work, we're putting in interventions here in our schools that really highlight those things. And our conversation today was exactly that. How do we highlight for parents things they can be doing at home? There is an Act 20 section of the website that on the reading plan it references, and our plan is to kind of build out a section on that webpage that would highlight Really, for each grade level, different activities that parents could do at home with their child, so, yep,
Thank you.
great thought.
Can I add on just one thing
Yeah,
too?
absolutely.
So part of the things that we've been trying to do at the primary school, and I know the elementary school has this as well, is but in those monthly agendas that the teachers send home, it says, how can you help your child at home? Those are another area that shows what families can do to help support their child. And since fluency is one of those big areas that is an area that we're continuing to grow and develop, that's the suggestions that the teachers will give the parents even in that section too. So lots of different places and resources just to partner together on those skills.
I'd
It's
also say,
helpful.
like, as somebody with elementary, primary school children of my own, I can already see in their homework that's coming home, fluency support tools, yeah. So teachers have a focus on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. LCAT.
Okay, go. LCAT distributed 46 medication lock boxes at several community events this year. The medication lock boxes keep our youth safe by keeping medication out of their hands. LCAT handed out free lock boxes at the Summer Safety Fair, National Night Out, and the Piggly Wiggly Family Fun Day. The Wisconsin State Opioid Response Grants provides funding for these lock boxes, so anybody could actually call Brian Bilsey here at this office and request one and get one even for your home. Should have for your home. So Brian and Sarah presented at the high school career fair on September 20th, 2024. Brian spoke to attendees about his career in the field of law enforcement and how he transitioned to the program director of the Lodi Community Action Team from that experience. Sarah spoke to attendees about her career experience in the field of social worker and how that helped her transition to the position of program coordinator. LCAT attended the Lodi Piggly Wiggly Family Fun Day that was held on Saturday, October 5th. LCAT handed out medication lock boxes and spoke to families about how to keep their families safe. It was fun to see so many familiar faces out in the community. Brian taught the Prime for Life program to a student who had violated school policy, and the Prime for Life program teaches students about making good choices concerning the use of alcohol and other drugs. Brian also taught the in-depth program to a student who had violated the tobacco-free school policy. The goal of the in-depth program is to educate students about nicotine dependence and cravings and guide them through a process of identifying their own reasons for using tobacco products and being able to stop. LCAT held their bi-monthly meeting on Wednesday, September 25th at the Lodi District Office. Brian and Sarah shared updates about the fall activities and upcoming events. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, November 20th at 9 a.m. Everyone is invited to attend this meeting. The LCAT trailer continues to be used regularly this fall. The trailer and its contents are used to support people in hosting alcohol-free events. LCAT received positive feedback from the community members who have used the trailer. That's it for LCAT.
Is that trailer available year-round?
You know, I'm sure it is as long as somebody can move it.
Okay, because
I don't think they use it much in the winter.
Okay.
They put it away in the winter.
Because it's
not
games and
used.
stuff.
Yeah, okay, no, I just didn't know, I was just curious, but I'm glad that.
I don't know
I
that
feel
there's
like
a
it's-
specific
I
deadline.
feel like people, I've been even hearing community members using it quite often, so that's awesome. Student services.
There, I'd like to share two announcements from the District Wellness Committee this evening. First was a presentation that was done on our first collaboration day in September. From our partners at WEA Member Benefits. They hosted a virtual presentation preparing for retirement. This was really specific for teachers who are between 5 and 10 years of retirement and went over all of the bullet points that are listed there. We did have 25 staff members attend and 36 registered so that they were able to access that recording at a later date. I'd also like to share the kickoff of our poster campaign. This is made possible by a grant written last year from Dean Health. The poster campaign will be highlighting staff members demonstrating the importance of wellness, including heart health, skin health, and mental health at each of our school buildings. Our first poster focused on dental health and features our amazing administrative assistants from each of our buildings. So thanks to Andy, Jen, Deanne, Kathy, Dawn, Leslie, Pam, and Lynn for participating in this. And our next poster campaign will be highlighting mental health and our educational assistants.
Awesome, thank you. Primary school.
Yes, good evening. So a couple of different highlights. We had a really nice homecoming week, as you can see from some of the different pictures there, the dress-up days. And down below, it also talks about the service day that the high school students came and participated. That was a huge hit. In regards to Pillar 1, preparing for the future, one of the things that I've done to try to just enhance kind of our announcements and also support literacy is the word of the week, which actually is one of the suggestions from our Keys to Literacy training, was they suggested a principal has a word of the week. So that's just been something just to highlight those words and have the kids use them and find them in books they're reading and so forth. I talk about summer reading, but we're going to talk about the summer school. I'll wait till that portion of the agenda tonight. But I did want to highlight for the love of learning, and our students are going to actually be getting their t-shirts this coming Wednesday, and to celebrate all the work that they had. But 161 students involved in the For Love of Learning, which was just outstanding, just continuing those reading and math skills over the summer. And then the last, just to highlight Lodi Utilities, they reach out every year and they want to present to our kindergarten students what line workers do. And they come with their facilities and their trucks and things like this, and are able to showcase that. And then they gave our students that book, If I Were a Line Worker. So just a great way to connect with our community.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Lodi Elementary and OSC.
Hello, good evening. So a couple things. First of all, we talk about three big things when it comes to successful classrooms, and those things are, first of all, relationships. Second thing is clear expectations and routines, and the third thing is well-planned lessons. And so I kind of, in the board report, kind of went through those and how we really focus on establishing that at the beginning of the school year, and some of the different ways that we do that. And then also went in to talk about just meeting student needs, specifically looking at our Next Path Student Glimpse and how we use that information, the questions that were asked students this year, and then that along with our observations and parent input, how we can better know students so that we can challenge them to grow. I put in some pictures of some highlights here for students, just different activities that they've been able to do, different ways we've been fostering connection, also not just connected with each other within their class, but connection within their grade levels, connection between LES and OSC, and connection with our high schoolers and out in the community. So those are just some of the things we've been doing. I also wanted to say thank you to the board, but also to administration and to the other staff at the building. I was able to attend the elementary principals convention last week, and so I just really appreciate that opportunity. I will tell you I learned a lot, but to be able to have people step up, to be able to support the building and support staff and students says a lot about this district and their commitment to people growing. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Middle school.
All right, good evening, everyone. First thing I want to do is just welcome a new team member. Haley Bowling is joining our staff as an educational assistant for special education. She actually is new to the district and has just moved here and brought her kids, and now she's employed by our district. I want to thank Michelle Howe. Every year she sets up Wear Orange for Hunger Awareness Day, and this year we had 251 students and staff wear orange on that day, and thank you to Lodi Sausage and Katie's Bar and Grill. They donate $1 for each person that wears orange to Reach Out Lodi. So it was a total of $502 that was raised to fight hunger right here in our community. A new initiative that we have at the middle school is called the GOAT. So we are trying to make sure that staff are recognized, and one of the things that staff really appreciates is when they're recognized by each other. So working with the Impact team, we have purchased that GOAT trophy there, and it is passed around, and the first recipient of the trophy was Amy Christensen, and luckily that day was Throwback Thursday, so she actually has her 80s clothes on and a side pony in, so I'm sure she appreciates that, but this Thursday she'll hand it out to the next staff member that will be the recipient of the GOAT. I have lots of pictures there of Homecoming Week. Homecoming Week is an awesome celebration for us, but I'll tell you, like at the middle school, like it's all about the dress-up days, and it's just really fun to see all the different outfits going throughout the building, and the Lodi Pride shown that way. Skipping over to 6th grade, they always do a field trip in the beginning of the year and really about building relationships between their students as they welcome them to the middle school. And so they go up to a place called Expeditions, which is right by Devil's Lake, but there's people there that coordinate some games and some team building things for our students. And that is a great day. And then, so half the day they spend at Expeditions playing games, things like that. Half the day they spend canoeing and lots of tipping over and getting really wet. So it's a great day, lots of memories built on those days, and also lots of pictures there. Then I'm going to go 8th grade. Every single year, I've been here in a long time, they go to the American Players Theater every year to see a Shakespeare's play. And this year's play was Much Ado About Nothing. And it was a great play. I will tell you, it was 75 degrees and the sun was shining that day, so it was a little bit of like an oven in there. But one thing that Patty Heinzman has done is she's partnered with the American Players Theater, and a week after, a little more, they actually have some actors come in and put on an acting workshop for our 8th grade students. They stay the whole day in language arts, and they put on acting workshops, which is a really, that's something they've only done the last couple of years, and kids have just said like it's such a great thing. Teachers say it's such an awesome opportunity to see the kids in such a different light and who really flourishes in that environment. That is all from middle school.
I'm assuming Erica Marble knows that too.
Yes.
Get them motivated for the musical next year. Thanks, Derek. High school.
All right, thanks, Heather. First of all, you know that we had a election for our student school board rep.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Caleb. The other two students that actually applied to be on the ballot did a great job with their interest letter and a video that they submitted, so all of the students could see a video about the students that wanted to be elected as the school board rep. I wanted to mention Catherine Hall, who is a junior, and freshman Mara Ross. They did a great job with their interest letter and their video, so I wanted to recognize them. 242 students voted, so that was 55% of our student body, so I thought that was pretty good. You can see some of the homecoming highlights. I know some of the other schools have mentioned homecoming. It was a great week for us. I did want to mention the parade isn't something that just happens. We have to work with the Lodi Police, the City of Lodi. I really appreciate the efforts and how they help us kind of get through that day or that afternoon. The youth organizations from all of the schools that participate. So the parade has gotten a little bit bigger because we've included other schools. So I appreciate their participation. And then of course Mason Kittleson and Michelle Poles, who are our homecoming advisors. They help out a lot. You can see Lodi area photography at the bottom of there, of the page. Audrey Parpart, who takes all of our pictures. In our Blue Devil bulletin, you'll see in my report where it'll say like 43 clicks or 54 clicks. So there's analytics that are done in our Blue Devil bulletin to see how many times a link is clicked. And that's one of the top ones. So if you know anything about the pictures that she produces for all of our activities, it's pretty amazing. So you can click there and see all of the pictures she's done probably like in the last 3 or 4 years. So I appreciate Audrey. Dress up day. So there's something that we did new. I challenged our staff to create teams for dress up days. So like the special ed department, the English department, social studies department, so on and so forth. And I told them that their team names had to be 80s rock bands. So
That's awesome.
Team Rush, Team Motley Crue, Team Danger Danger, Team Rage Against the Machine. That didn't surprise me from the English department. Team Nirvana, and they were going to get a prize if at the end of the day they had 100% participation. I think every department was really, really close, so I ended up giving a prize to the entire staff, but they really showed up. So I was very impressed with our staff and was happy that they participated more than ever. So I appreciate them. Powder Puff fundraiser, we raised over $2,600. It was a great community event. I was very thankful of the people that helped with that, including our referees, Dave Poles, Jason Murray, Kyle Mack, Adam Sheldon. It's not an easy game to ref. There are rules, but they're sometimes kind of gray. So I appreciate their efforts.
Well, and good job announcing 2 games happening at the same time. It's
I tend to like to be on the mic. I'm sure the neighborhoods don't really appreciate it, but it's a lot of fun.
No, it is a lot of fun, and I think I was sitting around people this year, and they're like, I don't think they expect it to be so much fun to watch.
Yes.
It's very entertaining.
And not just the games, but the
Yeah.
tug of war. And
Yes, all the
races.
stuff in between and seeing the kids out there, it's pretty fun.
It is fun.
Were there cheerleaders?
There were cheerleaders, but there was only
2016,
one.
there were cheerleaders.
There were boys cheerleaders, but not this time. We just had one little girl cheerleader on it, but they did a great job. Career Fair, I wanted to thank Sarah Ramish, Sarah Rip, and Terry Haig for participating in that. We had 46 individuals with that. Homecoming Court, I know Caleb's going to talk about that just a little bit, and that was homecoming. We do have some signing days coming up that are for our student athletes. You can see those dates. Parent-teacher conferences are coming up, so we're excited about that. And I made it a goal for our staff members to reach out to at least 5 parents to ask them to come to parent-teacher conferences because the attendance has been down over the last few years, I think ever since COVID. It's been down, so we're hoping to get those numbers up. We do have a new feature in the Blue Devil Bulletin. So that according to our survey last year, there were a lot of high school parents that didn't know how to help their high schoolers. So in the Blue Devil Bulletin, we are creating videos. The English department created their first video about here are some things that you can do to help your high school student in English. So you can take a look at that video. Blue Devil Manufacturing, this is something new this year. It's Accounting 2 class plus our Fab Lab class. And it got 56 clicks on our Blue Devil Bulletin, so a lot of people wanted to know what that was all about. So our Fab Lab students, they are the production side, and our Accounting 2 students, they are the business operations. So that's Jamie Licht and Sue Ziegler working together to create Blue Devil Manufacturing. We do have some testing, practice testing actually coming up next Thursday for our 9th and 11th graders, just so you know. And then finally, September Students of the Month, you can see who those students are. And that is the high school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, and our student representative report.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to start off with Homecoming Court as well as Homecoming Royalty. So the senior class voted during Homecoming Week to elect their Homecoming Royalty. Special congratulations to Emma Naden and Michael Cahalan for winning that vote. As a whole, the 2024 Homecoming Court was composed of 5 couples that the senior class voted on earlier in the month of September, those being Emma Naden and Michael Cahalan, Adriana Gonzalez and Abigail Wagner, Addison Bell and Tessa Pertzborn, Izzy Bai and Dakota Birquette, and Grant Byer and Bentley Smith. And they did a great job decorating, I have to say. It was one of the better homecoming decorations I've seen. Girls tennis. Again, congratulations to the varsity girls tennis team. All 10 of their members won their matches on Monday of this week, or last week I should say, October 7th during subsectionals. They went 12-0 at that tournament, which was hosted at the high school. And we got, I don't know if Mr. Jelinek heard, but some good compliments on our facilities from the other team. And I'm going to close with therapy dogs, which is labeled Lodi High School Fluffy Friends. So one of the new things we're doing is students have the opportunity during Wednesday interventions to meet with certified therapy dogs, Monty and Maximus. They're the golden retrievers in the right photo there. Also, students can meet with Chewy, another fluffy friend, on Mondays during snack break and Friday interventions. And recent studies, and I'm a statistical nurse, there's a graph down there, have shown that interaction with students and therapy dogs has a positive correlation to decreasing stress and anxiety levels, as well as boosting comfort, mood, and emotional well-being. And I want to thank Patty Nelson and Paula Tun for volunteering their dogs for this program.
With a link to the research article, thank you.
Wow. Caleb.
Thank you, Caleb.
Yes.
All right. District Administrator report.
Yeah, so I know that everyone is aware of the issue that happened with our primary and music teacher about a week and a half ago. I just appreciate so much how our staff and our families have worked together to continue to build connections while working through that difficult issue as a district, as a community, as families. And I just want to say we are so fortunate that Lexine Weber has agreed to come in and serve as a music teacher at the primary school in OSC for the first semester. It's just been a comfort not only to our students, but to our staff and to our family. All of our OSC students all know her very well, and the staff know her well, and families know her well, and she's just such a great person to come in, and so we're just so thankful for Lexine.
Yes.
And if anybody has any questions about any of those other issues, they can sure reach out and talk to me about that if they would like. Secondly, the school board, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but the Board of Education will be hosting a community engagement session from 6 to 7:15 on Wednesday, November 6th at the high school. The agenda that evening will start with some time to interact with board members, a presentation of how the 2022 referendum funds are being spent, and then a question and answer session from the community for board members. We hope you're able to come attend and join us that evening. Another opportunity to interact with board members is the annual meeting, which is scheduled for a week from tonight at 7 p.m. at the high school in the LGI. All community members are welcome to attend and take part in that meeting. And just a heads up, families and staff will be expecting to see a survey regarding the calendar for the 25-26 school year in the coming weeks. The calendar will look at whether we want to have a more traditional start to the school year like we did this past year, or families like to have 2 transition days the last week of August to help students transition back into school. The Personnel Committee reviewed those 2 options and asked the administration to create a calendar to send out and survey on this topic. So that should be coming out here within the next week or so. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Board President report. I always feel that October is a great month in the respect that majority seem to be in their groove. Students are usually adjusted to their school schedules and co-curricular routines. Teachers have their students accustomed to their expectations. Parents are enjoying the calm before the storm of the holidays coming up. And of course, everyone is enjoying the inconsistent weather of October in Wisconsin and having to wonder if they'll be freezing or roasting in their outfit of the day. The same goes for the board in the respect that even though October seems to be a busy month for us, we are getting into our routines too. We have gotten our committee meeting schedules figured out to work for everyone. We've been diving deep into committee meetings, discussions, and decisions. We had our board development meeting. We have our annual meeting coming up, just to mention a few. I have obviously only been on the board for a few years, but I feel that this time of year is when the board really seems to mesh together. We have a few board meetings and committee meetings under our belts together, and of course our board development meetings always seem to be the icing on the cake as far as getting comfortable with each other and finding the best ways to work together. And remember, all committee meetings and board meetings are open, so please never hesitate to sit in on any of them. There is always plenty of seating, and we would welcome anyone and everyone. And of course, the addition of our student representative is always exciting for us. Congratulations to Caleb and to the other candidates for putting yourselves out there. Please run again next year, and hopefully others will see your bravery and motivate them to run as well. Looking forward to hearing Caleb's perspective and speaking for the student body of our district. We as a board always want to hear different perspectives and opinions from all. That includes students, staff, parents, and community members. We always want the community to always feel that we are being upfront and keeping everyone informed / up to date on what we are doing. One of those ways is our community engagement session. We were hoping for a bigger crowd last year, so hoping we can have a bigger one this year. Please come to our board community engagement session on Wednesday, November 6th at 7 o'clock at the high school. Wednesday, November 6th at the high school at 7 o'clock. I realize it's another thing on your calendar, and I realize it's right smack in the middle of the week. In addition to us presenting what we have done with referendum money, we will also have a chance for us to chit-chat and interact with people in a personal setting instead of the typical boardroom setting, and for anyone to ask any questions they may have. Our aim is to make it informative, but also a very open setting where people can ask questions and converse. And let's be honest, there is no wrong or dumb question when it comes to referendums. So please come to just listen, or come with your questions, or come for the snacks and conversation. Wednesday, November 6th at 7 p.m. at the high school. I hope everyone is enjoying the fall weather and fall activities. Have a wonderful autumn. Enjoy the changing weather. Stay busy to stay out of trouble, but make time for fun and memories as well.
Nice. November 6th, is that the date?
Yes, November 6th.
At what time?
At 7 o'clock at
Where?
high school. High school.
Is it on a Wednesday?
It's on a Wednesday.
It's the day after the election, so you'll be so tired of election coverage at that point. Let's
Yes.
get together
Yes.
and have a
We
conversation,
can
a local
celebrate,
conversation.
we can celebrate the end of the election commercials.
Yes,
Yes.
that is another reason to get together.
Yeah. All right, our summer school report.
Yeah, I am going to turn this right over to Amy Fossbender and Eric Schineman. They will share an overview of the report and answer any questions board members may have.
Just line it up right here, you can right there. Thank you. Go ahead, Eric, if you want. So, as you look at the report right here, huge shout out to Emma for putting this all together and compiling the information. But you can see the top highlights here. This year we had 83 FTEs and a total of 972 students, which is phenomenal as you think about just the different programs that we have.
That's awesome.
The different programs that we have added, but as well as some of the different things that we've been doing, and then recognize that we could add that into our summer school program. But you can kind of see over time just how that's continuing to grow. And with that,
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
wanted to highlight there too, if you notice, we had one less class offered in summer school, but we had an increase in our total enrollment. And so obviously that's a good thing for us. But wanted to make sure too that we still keep our offerings up as well. But yeah, if you want to slide down, Tyler. Along with our classes, we also, this is a list of some of the classes offered, but we also had a lot of other, what we call clinics this year. So when you think of Bigger, Faster, Stronger and Saunters, and some of the other aspects as well, band camp, for the love of learning, these are some of those opportunities we want to make sure we give to students in our community that kind of don't necessarily fit within the hours or an traditional classroom.
And yeah, on the last page, just right here, this just gives a little bit of statistics of our staff. We have 46 staff members, and the majority of those are all employees of the school district of Lodi. So that's just a great way that our staff can be involved throughout the summer too. 17 regular education assistants, 15 special education assistants. 56 staff have returned, and then there's 21 new staff members. And again, majority of those are current employees.
One thing to highlight there is when you have a long summer and you think about our hourly employees who aren't salaried, I think a lot of our 21 new staff was people who were thinking, wow, this is really a long summer for me and I'm not gonna have any income. And so we were able to help them, right? And we had opportunities for them to serve, and so yeah, we were still very efficient in how we did that. And so to be able to care for our staff, get awesome staff in front of students, and also help staff throughout that long summer, I think was a really good win for our district.
Did you have any questions about summer school?
Can you go back to the very first page? And you said that it's 83 full-time places, but I don't think people understand that we get to count 83 students in our count. Is that correct, Brent?
No.
No?
We count them at a .4, so we count about 33.
33, okay.
Yeah.
So the entire summer school program brings in revenue from the state for 33 additional student slots.
It builds our revenue limit. We had about 375,000. So part of that is state aid, right? Part of it is property tax.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Isn't FTE 12 credits or doesn't go by
One FTE
credit?
is about $11,325.
Oh, you
Sorry to
have
think
dollar
about it like
amount
that
on yours.
because putting a number on a kid is not a nice thing, but that's
But we're
my
doing
job.
a tremendous amount of
Wow,
learning during the
okay,
summer,
yeah.
and so the state credits that to us.
I think, and something else when we think about that, it's on a 3-year,
Rolling horizon.
right? It's on a 3-year average, and so right now, if you look, we have our 83, our 80, and then we have a 54. So going into next year, that would fall off. But obviously, having 2 years of high FTEs is helpful.
Wouldn't it be awesome if we had 1,000
Glad you brought that
last
up.
year? We were so close this last year.
If we went there?
We had 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
1,000.
A lot of kids.
One of the great things that you can see from this too, like especially this last summer, the last two, is that typically when you think of summer school, a lot of times you think about the younger students that are just coming into the building, but when you look at some of these other offerings like the band camp or the leadership council, like those are opportunities for our students all the way through high school. And so it just, again, shows from 4K through 12, just how we're keeping them engaged and giving them those opportunities of enrichment or remediation if we need to. As we look at summer school, we do, like I said, the majority of that work is through that summer, but we already are beginning to plan and think about for next year. So come December, we'll start sending out information about classes or opportunities. So as people are listening and thinking, if you've got ideas for other summer school classes, we always like to think about how we can just improve and continue to add on to our programs.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, Eric and Amy do a wonderful job, and Emma Newmeyer also is their right-hand person putting all this stuff together. So, as I said, it's a year-long process. They have full-time jobs otherwise, as you may have
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah.
So they do a great job in pulling this together and then moving summer school.
No, and you talk to, obviously, you see the kids and they love it too.
They
So-
love it.
So thank you guys for doing that.
Yeah, we really can't do without Emma, without transportation,
Oh my
without,
God.
think about the high school, we get to invade that space. Primary school some too, and then also just our staff and our families, yeah, it's a privilege.
And it's gotta make a difference too when they come back. I know, I mean, it's not like we wanna keep our kids in school year round, but it's nice to have that little break and still kind of reminding, especially that level of reading and math too. I mean, that's just keeping them more on, so when they come back, they're not so bombarded with everything. So, thank you guys. All right. Oh, speaking of summer school, our summer school dates.
So the district has developed summer school dates for summer of 2024, so their administration would recommend the board approve the dates as presented. So the first week would have camps, would be June 9th through June 13th. BFS would go June 9th through July 13th. Session 1 would go June 16th through July 3rd. And then the second session would be the July 14th through July 31st with a break July 7th through July 10th for the 4th of July.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 summer school dates presented.
And I'll second.
Motion by Sarah Ramish, second by Adam. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you guys again.
Yes. I get excited about summer school. When I read what we could do.
Terry, you can't sign up, I'm sorry.
No, I'd be asked
Well,
to
we're
do-
always looking for staff
No,
members.
I was
Yes,
gonna say
exactly.
that, keep it bad.
Volunteers. Our LCAT, strategic planning.
Yeah, so the district is working to facilitate a mini strategic planning with the Lodi Community Action Team and its coalition members. The board in the past few years has asked LCAT to go out and secure as much grant funding as possible to sustain their programming, which each grant comes different activities that you have to do to fulfill the grant. And one of the concerns that I have is that with the direction that we're following grants is, are we, does the grant funding pulling us off from where we need to be? So I think we need to work together to create kind of a grounding document of this is where we need LCAT to be, just like we've done for the district, just in a smaller version, like how can we help put some pillars in place for LCAT and then, put some things in place to make sure we're holding them accountable to what we want them to do. So we've currently scheduled a strategic planning session for LCAT on October 16th from 9 to 11 a.m. The goal will be, again, to do that process, bring that back to the board in November for approval, and then bring LCAT back to the board. The board's asked us to bring them back every year. Bring them back in December for approval. Depending on the outcome of the strategic planning process, the administration will be looking for a longer-term commitment from the board for LCAT to making LCAT just part of the budgetary process as we do all of our other programs. But as a first step in this process, I would ask the Board of Education to give the strategic planning group a charge as they move forward with this work. So I have a sample charge in there for you to consider. And the charge for the group when they meet on Wednesday would be to develop an event, which would be Wednesday's event, culminating with a presentation to the Board of Education that will engage coalition members in a process that will inform the recommitment to or development of a vision and or mission statement for Lodi Community Action Team and will guide LCAT's decision-making for the next 5 years. And the reason I say a recommitment to or development of, they already have a vision and mission statement. So the idea is, do we stay with that vision and mission or does that change? I don't know, right? So that will come out of that process. The Facility and Finance, the Personnel Committee looked at this, reviewed this information, and unanimously moved it to the full board with a recommendation of approval of this charge. So we would look for the board to make a motion and approve that charge moving forward.
I move to approve the charge for the LCAT strategic planning process as presented.
I'll second that. Motion by Adam, second by Terry. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thanks, Vince. All right, our automatic enrollment 403B.
Yeah, 403B, or tax sheltered annuity, which is an agenda item. We are recommending that the Lodi Board of Education look at an automatic enrollment for Lodi staff in a 403B tax sheltered annuity investment plan through our district provider, WA Trust. They are initiating similar programs across the state. This initiative will be part of our district's fiscal wellness program managed by the Wellness Committee in alliance with our strategic planning pillar, district workforce, focusing on attracting and retaining exceptional team members. Automatically enrolling employees in a 403B tax sheltered annuity program fosters a culture of financial wellness and retirement savings, benefiting both employees and the organization. It's a proactive step that helps simplify this for employees, making it easier for them to secure their financial future, but also enhances recruitment and retention by demonstrating the school district's commitment for the long-term well-being one of the things we talk about when you talk about saving for retirement, I've never heard anybody say, I wish I would have waited longer to start saving for retirement, right? You don't do it, right? It's like something I'm gonna do and then you forget about it and it just gets pushed off. So this is the idea, is to kind of enroll our staff. Now, they still have the option that I'm not interested and you don't have to do it. But it's just the opportunity that we would do that. And then once new staff are hired, we would put them into the program. Again, they would have the opportunity to opt out, and they can opt out anytime. Or those who already are involved, it's not gonna impact those who already are doing it. We have about 33% of our staff are already involved in this program, so it won't impact anything that they're doing. It's just a way to get them to start. So a couple questions that came up during the personnel committee meeting was, what would we do, like how often would we ask them? And again, I wasn't sure because Brent wasn't at that committee. We're gonna ask them once. Like we will ask them this fall. First of all, we'll provide education to staff about it. Right? We're not just gonna do it. We're gonna provide some education and more information about this. And then we will give them a survey, like, you know, we're gonna say, would you like to be, we're gonna opt you in. If you don't wanna be, you can opt out. And then we
And
opt
this will
them
be the
out.
only time we ask you.
Right. They can still opt in at other times if they
Yes.
would like to,
Right. But
but we
they
won't
have
ask
to
them
come.
again. And then new staff will be opted in when they come in.
And they'll get a little education.
Yes. Yeah, so,
But that, I mean, that was nice too, where it's like, I'm glad that you kind of automatically, because like you're saying, really you wanna try to plan that as early as possible, but it was brought up that it's like, okay, but they already have to do so much, do we really need to mark every year that they don't want to? So it was nice that you just get asked, and if you don't want it, then that's fine too.
so there's a neighboring district who does this, has done it for several years now, and like their TSA rate is over 70% people involved and engaged in that program, right? And it's just part of what they felt is really important for employees. And somebody who's been in education a long time, like we were talking about TSAs earlier as a board, prior to the board meeting, and people are like, what's a TSA, right? So that happens in education as well. And some of us have been lucky enough to run into somebody in the teacher's lounge who said, hey, are you saving for retirement? Like, well, there's a retirement piece for school districts in the state. Yeah, that's not enough. What else are you doing? And has talked you into like, oh, you should look into this.
Yeah,
Not everybody is lucky enough to run into somebody in the teacher's lounge and do that.
yeah.
Right, so we as an organization should help our staff do that. Now, they still have to make that choice, and those choices come with what happens in your life at this point. You may not be able to do it, or you may do some now and some later, but we shouldn't just have our staff be out there and be lucky enough to run into a mentor or somebody who
Yes.
talks about this with them.
Is there a certain amount that they have to put in?
We're looking at 1% of their, whatever their salary is, and then they can do more if they like, or less.
They're gonna be opted in for 1%.
Yep.
And then they can
Okay.
change that to whatever they want,
Okay.
or add whatever they want.
And so does that come out, is it pre-tax?
Yes, that's why it's called tax sheltered annuity. Good question, though. It is a pre-tax, so it comes out benefit, and then you're taxed on that benefit as it grows. You'll be taxed on that as it comes out. You can't access it until you're 59 and a half.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to move to the full. I make a motion,
Oh,
recommendation of approval. There we go. Make
Yeah.
a motion to recommend the approval of the school district of Lowday's 403B automatic enrollment program as presented.
I'll second that. Motion by Adam, second by Terry. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Vince.
Yeah. Thank you to Brent and Adria and Nick have played a role in this as well. So they've spent a lot of time on that and
Thank
a lot
you,
of
guys.
meetings, so, yep.
All right, Wopat Scholarship.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. The District of Lodi is so grateful to the Wopat family for their long-standing support. Actually, I'm going to pull up a press release on this. Sorry, I had to change it based on some information I got today. Sorry for the delay. So again, we are thrilled, in collaboration with the Wopat family, the Wopat Family Scholarship, we're delighted to announce a transfer of approximately $2.6 million from this scholarship fund to the Madison Community Foundation in the school district of Lodi. The namesake of the scholarship, LMC Wopat, served through most of the 60s and 70s on this board. And as part of the board, consistently voted for any measure that would improve the education of district students. Mr. Wopat was the only member of his family's generation to attend college, matriculating there at the age of 16, what is now UW La Crosse. He left college after his freshman year due to lack of money. The Wopat family felt that college scholarship in his name seemed appropriate to provide others with the opportunity for higher education, which had been beyond his means. To this end, the Album C. Wopat Scholarship was established in 1988 with a significant amount of money and 100 shares of Apple and Intel stock, valued at approximately $10,000 in 1993. Over the years, these initial investments have grown significantly due to stock splits and increase in value. The unprecedented growth in these stocks held in the Wopat Scholarship Fund has created an opportunity for the district and the Wopat family to collaborate on moving these funds out of the current stock holdings and invest approximately $600,000 into the Madison Community Fund, where it will be used to continue to support scholarships for high school seniors from Lodi High School. By investing the money in the Madison Community Fund, the hope is the scholarships will continue to be paid out in investment earnings, and the principal, which will help these scholarships be a consistent opportunity for Lodi students in the years to come. Initially intended to provide $1,000 scholarships annually for 4 years to one Lodi student, the scholarship was increased in 2018 to award $3,000 per year for 4 years, or $12,000 per person. At this time, the family would like the district consider awarding the $3,000 scholarship over 4 years to 2 Lodi seniors, giving 2 Lodi High School seniors the opportunity to pursue college degrees. The family has also expressed an interest in whatever portion necessary to the remaining $2 million be considered for any major revision of the Performing Arts Center. This project is part of the district's current long-range capital improvement plan, and the family feels the fund might have the greatest effect. So they have said that this is something that they've near and dear to their heart, and that's what they would like to see that money be used for. So there is the district, for that to happen, the district has to move those funds from where they are now into the funds that we talked about. So Brent Richter has a memo there and a motion. So what we would recommend is just to approve the motion as presented in Mr. Richter's memo. I covered it all, Brent?
You got it.
So it's just a really exciting thing.
Oh, very.
Something that's grown over time, and
Yeah.
and now is time, as the Wopat family has decided that it's, and us has decided it's just a good time for us to move that out of there. And what a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And we're so excited for that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wopat family,
The
tremendously.
younger people may not know who the Wopats
Oh,
are.
that's true.
Singers and actors.
Yeah.
And
Very talented family.
right, and that makes sense.
And
And athletes.
And involved family too.
Yeah, so in talking to the family, they talked about, there are some of the athletic things that they do too, phenomenal athletes, but as I said, singers, dancers, and just fine arts. And just what has carried on, throughout the generations, which, as we get older, the athletics, we're less able to participate in those things, but the fine arts are usually always there for us, and they're important as well, so.
What's the timeline for using these funds?
That is up to us, right? So we will sit down and have a conversation about whether we link that into a referendum question, into a bigger piece of the Performing Arts Center as we looked at some things, or if we just look at, projects that we want to do within that center. So there's no finite timeline, but something we'll be looking at as we look towards that next referendum as a capital improvement project, if we decide to go that way.
Do you think it'd be possible to reach out to a representative of the Wopat family if the board is delegated with the responsibility of figuring out what to do with this money, to actually be able to speak with a representative of the family, to talk to them about how we might go about using this money, as opposed to just what we got here tonight?
I think that would be our role.
Yeah,
Right.
and Dave, Wopat, and I are in pretty consistent conversation. And so his last words to me today were, use it the way you want to. They initially indicated fine arts was an interest of all the brothers and sisters, but I had suggested that we wanted to have ongoing conversations about this wonderful opportunity, and he just kind of said, we just really respect what your decision is, so.
So we shared, that's the reason I pulled up the press release now, is because today, he updated some of the things that we put in here, so, that would be their preference, right, was something in fine arts and things like that. If the board and the district decided not to do that, that is well within our right, because that money has been in our coffers, right? It's us transporting it, but I think it makes a lot of sense to honor, I don't know what they've thought, and walk through the information I've gotten from them.
And Scott, I think down the road, that conversation is a respected conversation, and the Wopat family has really shared that they've appreciated that memo and the opportunity, because it's our money. And just to have that conversation is one that's just built on the grounds of respect for each other. And so all the brothers and sisters were really grateful to have had a conversation with Mr. Brining, myself, and now with you so I think that ongoing conversation is something they would actually probably like.
We haven't had a conversation.
So.
The board has.
Haven't had a
So
conversation.
there's a little more
They're not part of
backstory.
that.
In 2014, we actually engaged in this process, and Adam was a part of that. And they were a part of our actual board finance committee meetings.
Yep.
And so we had some pretty nice conversations at that point, and then just kind of closed our eyes for a while.
Yeah, it's 10 years ago.
Yeah, but it was the beginning of the conversation, and so, but I think they would
I
look
only
into that.
ask so that people that are making the decision here have a better feel for exactly what the family wants, so we can, be as respectful of that as we can. I understand what you're sharing with us. I just thought it might be a reasonable thing for the board to actually be able to converse with the representatives to get a better feel, and it's just
Yeah, I mean,
more of a sense. I mean, you mentioned the fine arts, I just heard you mention the athletic. That was just the intent of my
Yeah.
question, that's all.
well, I guess when we are really talking about it, we can reach out to the family and see if they want to be part of that. And if they really are like, no, you guys do your thing, then we will. But I think that's a great idea too. Because obviously that's a lot of money, and we are tremendously grateful for that, so.
I move to approve the motion as presented.
I second that. Motion by Adam, second by Terry. Any more discussion?
So, I guess my question would be, if this gets approved, which I think it will, I mean, who decides where the money goes? What it's used for? I guess I'm just kind of picking back off of Scott before this gets approved. I mean, do there need to be, designations? Like when we did the logging contract in the facility and finance, we said, we want those funds to go back into the school forest. That's what we want. So, I mean, and Brent, you said, well, do whatever you want with it. I mean,
No,
what is that?
He didn't say do whatever. He said the family is intent on putting it back into fine arts.
Right, but he also made a statement
But you can
about.
override that if you want.
Right. So does that mean it can go to anything?
It's as
So, I
stated.
mean, I just wanna, I wanna make sure that the board, the district is using that money in the way that the family would like to see it used, and not for paying for some new carpet in the district office, or paying for a substitute teacher, or things like that.
That's what Vince was saying, though, is that we have a big need in the fine arts. And
Right,
we're
but-
having those discussions coming up.
But does this motion,
This motion does not say.
it just is,
I think the intent in what Vince
well,
read
intent,
is that.
yeah, but the intent isn't in the motion.
The motion is to move it into the other account.
Right.
Is that all the motion is for?
That's it.
So then what, I guess, my question is.
So the money is at CompuShare right now, computer share in stocks. And And so we would be liquidating the stocks this week. They would come into the district in check form, whatever. And then they will be split out into two separate accounts that are held not by us at Associated Bank. One will be Madison Community Foundation for scholarships.
For the scholarships.
Then the other would be a low interest, or low risk account. We have a turf fund, future replacement fund at WISC Investment Series, which is a low risk investment that was designated by like the board a few years ago. But also our accountants are overseeing that. This is a very like accountant heavy type process. It won't be just me that's overseeing this. This is guided by our auditors. So that will go into its own account at a separate investment company called PMA.
Yep.
And so it will sit there and it will be called the Wopat.
So it'll be definitely by itself, we'll know
It'll
that
be
that money.
designated the Wopat
Something.
And
it'll be a loan, it won't be commingling with.
What do you mean it'll be a loan?
It will be its own
Oh,
investment.
a loan,
Yeah.
A-L-O-N-E,
Correct.
not a.
By itself.
You know, we have 4 accounts there and they don't commingle, we can't use them for cash flow. They're just invested and they'll be liquidable at whatever, immediate or whatever. So, but they don't commingle, we can't grab them, we don't touch them. One is the turf one that we talked about. There's a couple other smaller ones, a debt service account and such, but.
So can I ask a clarifying question kind of off of Sarah's point to maybe help, I think, where you're going with it? Is the board ultimately responsible for determining how those funds are spent? Is that what you were getting at? Or am
Yes, I mean, I
misunderstanding
just.
what you're saying?
You just don't want the board
I just
to
don't
have
want
free-
I don't
right.
want the board, it's a future board, whatever, having free will with those funds to do. If the family would like it designated for something, then I think, if that's how they feel, that's what it should be used for and designated for.
If we finish this motion, you could make another motion to anything you want.
I want to make sure that the Wopat families' wishes are being made.
So
Yes.
make that next after this.
Well,
Just make that
See where
motion.
that
if
goes.
Vince and Brent, if they talk to them,
A lot.
it seems like, I believe what they're saying. I don't have a problem with.
Well, I'm not saying I don't believe what they're saying, I'm just saying,
It has nothing to do with.
it has
believing or
a,
not believing what
right,
they're
it
saying.
has to do with how the motion is being made. And
No, if it's something, and the thing is, Adam said, if you wanna, I think those are two separate motions. One is we have to make a motion to get the money to where, out of the
Right,
fund.
and I understand, yes,
So
I
that if you wanna make
understand that
another
part.
motion that says we are gonna designate this to the Performing Arts Center, then you are sure can do that, because you're right, I mean,
Then it's.
a
then it's-
business manager's leaving,
that.
you never know, I mean, who's gonna be sitting in this chair someday when you get to
And
make
not-
a decision.
right,
I
It's
think
just,
it's,
yeah.
Sarah, I think it's a great,
Well, and not
Why
that
not,
those
you know?
funds are gonna be used today, tomorrow, this
Yeah,
year,
right.
next year. I mean,
That's just.
it can sit there,
Yeah.
accrue interest, and be used as needed for certain things. I just wanna make sure that the Wopat family's wishes
let's
are
vote
being
on,
made.
let's vote
Let's
on
vote
this.
on this
Okay.
motion.
Okay, so motion was made by Adam, second by Terry, all in favor of moving the funds to the accounts that they need to go to, okay? That's what we're voting on right now.
Yep.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so that motion passes 6-0. So let's make another motion now. And I don't know how you wanna word it, but
I know I don't know
Brent
how I
just
wanna
talked to
word
Dave.
this.
Do you wanna ask Brent what Dave said?
I'd like to honor what Scott said, is I think ongoing conversation to mutually agree on
Okay.
I think is kind of what Wopats would appreciate as well.
So I would like to,
Wopat family.
so make a motion for the Wopat funds.
How about making a motion that our administration will keep in touch and keep us involved in the designation of the
Scott, do you have a
Wopat?
better way to word that motion?
I'm not sure that a motion's even needed at this point.
Well,
If you feel better about making
I
one,
mean,
by
I
all
don't
means,
think it's
but
the
I'm
worst
not
thing
sure
to
I
have.
think Brent and Vince understand.
Well, I know, but we were just talking about, what if down the road
Make a
something does come
motion,
up,
I mean,
you know?
possible motion would be, motion that the Wopat family's wishes will be considered when utilizing these funds.
I will
I
make a
like that.
motion
That the Wopat
that the
family
Wopat family's wishes
will be considered
will be considered
when using these
when
funds.
using said funds.
Perfect.
And I'll second.
Thank you.
Motion by Sarah Ramus, second by Adam. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. I think that was good. It's very,
Thank you for your help.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I was gonna say something when you asked for further discussion.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I should have jumped in even quicker.
You gotta shut me up, Scott, sometimes, okay?
I would just add that if I'm a board member making the decision, it would be if the Wopat family or representative was agreeable to it, it would be very nice to be able, as a board member, to be part of a conversation with them about this.
So I think
It's not
that's,
a motion, it's not a, it's
So
just,
you wanna
I'm
be
just.
involved.
but I think
I
that goes
just think it'd
along
be
with the motion,
respectable
which I
and-
think is gonna
Well,
make that
It
conversation.
doesn't, but in my opinion, the way it's worded, it doesn't necessarily mean that.
And to be able to thank them, I mean, I think that would be
That's all.
Yeah.
very cool too.
They would love to come back and have a conversation.
Right, but
Yeah.
they're gonna have to come back because they don't live here right
He's
now.
indicated that he would love to come back and see them. Perfect.
Is anybody close by anymore?
I think the only person that was here maybe passed.
Right, no, there's nobody close.
I know where the house is.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. That was a good
Thank you.
discussion, and I think, again, Wopat family, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely.
And for a dad that really thought that much of his kids and the community.
It's pretty awesome.
All right, board collective commitments.
Yeah, so the Board of Education, as you had mentioned, we're getting in a swing of things. We've been meeting a few times. We've had several professional development sessions with Drew Horwick. The first session and much of the second session, the board spent discussing and analyzing the collective commitments that were developed by the board in 2022. Since then, we've had 3 new board members on the Board of Education who are not in office when we developed those collective commitments, so we felt it was a good time to review the document. As a result of the discussion, there were revisions made to the board's collective commitments, which is in board docs. The 3 significant changes are, the collective commitments are in front of the board, every board meeting. And the 3 significant changes are, 1, they deleted the commitment to endeavor. Their commitment was to endeavor to come to meetings early to check in with other board members and administrators. And the board members felt that a lot of this actually happens after the board meeting instead of before the board meeting, so it really wasn't a commitment that they were, that needed to be there.
We try to get here early. It doesn't always work, okay?
Yeah,
Try.
so they took that one out. The other 2 were the addition of a collective commitment regarding the nonpartisan nature of the Board of Education and the prioritization of the needs and the well-being of students first when we're making decisions. And the second one, the third change was a commitment to keep confidential, sensitive information obtained during service to the district while on the board and after their tenure. So those are the 3 major changes they made. So they're in front of you, and again, a recommendation that we approve them as a board.
Are
Yeah.
these the new ones?
Nope.
Okay.
No,
Those
I
are
thought
the
we
old
had
ones, 'cause you haven't
some
approved
great
yet.
discussions
Right.
at our board development meeting about all the things that we had changed, and
Oh,
pretty thorough, and I felt like we came to a pretty good agreement on some stuff. And I think it's just great guidelines for everybody. And just to mention, if you turn in your nomination papers to be on the board, we are gonna actually give you these collective commitments, because then you'll kind of get an idea of how the board does work. And I know Sarah Rip too had mentioned that we'll probably do a thing where we'll kind of tell you, just like, you're gonna be part of committee meetings and stuff like that, just to give you an idea of more of how
Time
the board.
commitment.
Time commitment, yeah.
And I can do that. I offer, typically when people are running for Board of Education, I offer to meet with them before,
Yes.
while they're running, right?
Yes.
So that if they have questions, we can sit down and have a conversation.
And you do a great job when we get on there,
Yeah,
you do
yeah.
great onboarding too. But, no,
We-
you are great.
But I can talk about that when I meet with them individually, about the commitments, as well as the commitment for
Time
being on the
commitment.
board.
Yeah.
Like what the time commitment is for people, because it's a lot.
Yes.
People don't realize it until they're on it.
So, I don't know, just looking at,
Yeah.
the document with the changes, I don't know if there's some spacing that can, just to make it so it's 2 pages, like
I
the
can work on
spaces
that.
between, just to
Yeah.
shorten it.
Yeah.
You know how I am.
No, I wasn't worried, well, part of that too is, it also has the crossed out sections in there.
Right.
So when they come out, that'll shorten it down too, so.
Yeah.
We'll
A little bit, but I don't know that
We'll
it's still
format
gonna
it so it
fit.
lasts,
Okay.
it goes on 2 pages,
Okay,
yes.
the only other thing I'd like to see on it somewhere, like at a footnote or,
Mm-hmm.
at the bottom or the top somewhere is just updated or the date of it,
Right.
that it was
Yeah, 'cause
approved or something,
This is the first time
just,
it's updated, so it'll be when it started and then when it's
Right.
next approved.
right. Or somehow, yeah, cause the date isn't on here
Yep.
when
Yeah.
this was originally created, so.
No, I think that's a good idea. Just to kind of
Something.
every year. And obviously, we
revised
approve them
or-
again every year, but I think it's
Right.
nice when it shows when it's
Yeah,
revised too.
like revised, and the date, I guess, would be today or whatever date.
Yeah.
So,
I move to approve the updated School District of Lodi Board of Education collective commitments as presented.
I'll second it.
Right.
Motion by Adam, second by Teresa. Any more discussion? Are all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes 6-0. Our board community engagement session.
When is that gonna be again?
That is gonna be Wednesday, November 6th at 7 o'clock at the high school, if anybody wants to know.
Perfect.
And
this says 6.
6 o'clock, time for social interaction.
Yes.
It says 6. Did we say 6 before? It's at
I've
7.
been saying 7 this whole time.
Been saying 7. Oh my gosh.
6
Heather.
o'clock, 6
Oh
o'clock.
my gosh, everyone's gonna show up late now. We're gonna have thousands of people showing up at 7.
And the time change is
Thousands,
after,
for sure.
it's before this, I think.
If we have thousands of 7, we'll repeat the whole thing.
Yeah.
We'll just
Oh, yeah,
vote.
I did put
Okay.
it in my calendar as
So
7.
no, 6 o'clock.
If they keep coming, we'll just wait.
6 o'clock, everyone, 6 o'clock. Oh.
We don't have policy committee meetings on Wednesdays anymore, correct?
No,
No.
Okay.
we have no committee
I haven't
meetings on
changed
Wednesdays
it.
anymore.
So to help Vince out, right? It will start at 6 and go from 6 to 6:15 will be social interaction.
Right.
Board members and community members.
Yes.
And then from 6:15 to 6:45, just 30 minutes, there'll be a short presentation.
Yes.
And then from 6:45 to 7:15, another 30 minutes, there'll be a question and answer session.
Yes.
Short and sweet.
Yes.
6 p.m.
6 o'clock, 6.
There we go.
On the 6th.
Or if you're a
Yes.
military person, 1,800.
Don't get them mixed up.
Yeah.
$1,800.
Don't confuse us.
Please be there, November 6th at 6 o'clock.
All
I
right.
cannot be there.
It's okay.
That's okay.
We knew that,
I know
right?
I
So
put
we
it ahead of
looked
time,
at.
but now I'm
um,
panicking, like it seems like everyone's gonna be there, everyone.
Yeah,
We
1,000
knew,
people.
we knew you
Yes.
couldn't be there.
We're gonna
this
have
is
thousands of people there, it's okay.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so we don't
No, we
have to do
understand.
anything else with that, right?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
We just wanna tell everybody it's Wednesday, November 6th at 6 o'clock at the high school.
Okay. So,
Come help me teach my class.
Okay,
next.
we don't have any policy reviews.
Nope.
Gifts.
We do have gifts and donations. So we have a donation of $1,200 from Jane and Ben Lannon for the high school Thailand exchange program, and a donation of $2,000 from Lodi Utilities to support the fall of 2025 senior reality check. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So
as
I'll move to
always.
accept with great gratitude the donation of $1,200 from Jane and Ben Landon for the high school Thailand exchange program, and the donation of $2,000 from Lodi Utilities to support the fall of 2025 senior reality check.
I'll second that.
Motion by Adam, second by Terry. Any more discussion?
Yeah, someone has to
What is
tell
this?
the audience what a senior
reality
Yeah, what is
check
the
is.
senior reality check?
When did I jump? No. So the senior, we're working on a senior reality check where they would, we would probably have our seniors go off-site actually and spend part of a day where they would be like given an amount, checkbook amount, and you are going through life. Like you have to go pay your mortgage, oh, you have childcare, or you have all these different things that happen in your life depending on what cards you draw. So it's just kind of helping them think about financial reality
Yes,
of
all
what
of my
life
kids
is
have
going
talked
to
about
come
that.
down the road.
So in addition to, something separate, in addition to financial literacy?
Yeah, we have financial
Okay.
literacy class now, but this would be just an event
An
for.
additional.
This
for
would be shock
seniors.
therapy.
Yeah, so we're working on putting something together. Christy Paskey and Joe Gellman and a group at the high school are working on
Nice.
trying to pull something together for this, and obviously it
That'd
takes
be
some
a day
funding
I'll
and things like that.
volunteer for if you need any volunteers.
Yeah, well, a lot of the people that participated in the career fair, we're gonna reach out to.
Right.
Gladly,
But not only you have to pay those things, it says this on the piece of, not paper anymore, but it says this. This is what you're paying for. This is the thing, and this is how it's done.
And this happens, also,
And
this
this
happens,
happens,
right?
yes.
You need a new refrigerator, you need, well, just like life,
Right.
right? What happens in life?
I would like to be
suddenly-
one
this-
who
Suddenly
pays
something
your
good happened to you,
motor and
something not so good happened.
Yeah.
We don't wanna depress the kids, okay?
I drove over
Those
Nancy,
things
I busted
happen.
my
Yeah, right.
tire, you know? I need two new tires.
You got a raise, look at this, awesome.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Different things
Yeah,
happen.
buy
Good
one,
stuff.
yeah, buy two.
When we were at DeForest High School last year, a few teachers went over and watched their senior reality check, and they actually had police officers there. So there would be someone that would go buy a car, and before they would buy insurance, they'd walk to the gym, police officer would stop them and ask if they have insurance, and they would say, no, do you have a car? Yes, and then they'd give them a fine. They were ticketing them as they were walking through the gym, so that's definitely a reality check.
Yeah, right.
You need
So-
insurance when you know.
You're taking
buy-
that
That
car
sounds like
out
a
the
great
lot.
So that's kind of the idea, like trying to
Yeah.
give, again, a real life experience.
Yeah,
Condensed, a safe real life experience.
Yes.
and it's-
Yes.
and it's more-
With people to help you through it.
yeah.
Right?
Problem
Learning
solving.
Well,
experience.
thank you. That sounds awesome.
Good question, thank you for the question.
Yes.
Goals.
So, any more discussion?
Did we vote or not?
Oh, okay, I was like, did I say something
No,
wrong?
we were having our discussion.
Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right. Our committee reports. CISA 5.
Piece of 5, I went to that meeting, and we talked about career and technical education. Here's the book of all the youth apprenticeships that they have, which is amazing and wonderful, and it brings money back into your district, and it gets students out in the real world, learning real jobs, where they actually can make money sometimes, often.
And Lodi is growing tremendously too.
Yes.
so.
And then we talked about technology again with Corey Holtz, and passed the budget and stuff. Is that good?
All right. Co-curricular items / report. Okay, cross-country. The cross-country team has had a busy last few weeks. On September 20th, the team participated in the Rio Invitational with senior Roger Melland winning the meet and setting a course record. Wow. On October 1st, Lodi participated in an invitational at Wyona Park. There were several athletes who set personal records, and the boys' team placed 3rd out of 13. The cross-country team travels to Columbus tonight and will travel to Columbus again on Saturday for the Capital Conference meet. Tennis. The tennis team finished the season with an overall record of 13-5. On Monday, October 7th, Lodi hosted the WIAA subsectionals. All Lodi participants advanced to the WIAA sectional held in Portage. Despite some quality play, no Lodi students advanced to the state tournament. Football. The Lodi football team has a record of 5-2 and a conference record of 3-2. This past Friday night, Lodi beat visiting Beloit Turner in the last regular season home game by a score of 34-14. With its win, Lodi will qualify for the WIAA playoffs. The Blue Devils will finish the regular season traveling to Horicon, Hustisford this Friday. Soccer. Varsity boys soccer team is having a solid year, overall record of 8-3-4, and a conference record of 3-2-1. Recent wins include 5-0 win over Lake Mills and 3-0 win over Wisconsin Heights Barneveld. The Blue Devils will wrap up regular season play at home on Tuesday against Mauston. Lodi earned a number 3 seed and will take on number 14 University Lake School Trinity Academy at home on Thursday, October 24th. Volleyball. The volleyball team has an overall record of 26-9 and a conference record of 6-1. Recent highlights include a 2-1 win over Marshall and a 2-0 win over Amro. Lodi will wrap up the regular season this week on Tuesday at Lakeside Lutheran before heading into the playoffs. Swimming. The swim team is having a strong season in the pool. On Tuesday, October 1st, the team beat Portage in a duel by a score of 122-39.
with several Lodi students winning their races. The team traveled to the Fond du Lac Invitational, placing 9th out of 12 teams. Musical. The cast, crew, and pit have been busy rehearsing for this year's production of The Music Man. Performances will be held in the Lodi High School Performing Arts Center on November 16th, 17th, 22nd, and 23rd.
Busy.
That's a lot of co-curricular.
Yeah. OSC, and Sarah Rupp cannot be here, but Eric, you're able to
Yeah.
give us a little update?
So on September 18th, the OSC board met. The meeting consisted of a few things. OSC update. At that time on September 18th, OSC had already had 2 field studies. They've had more since then. Also, OSC had welcomed Bill Welch from the Ice Age Trail Alliance, the Lodi chapter, as a guest speaker. Students really enjoyed that and learned a lot from him. OSC plans to participate, or had planned and already has, participated in a trail building activity with Ice Age Trail Alliance. And that connects with our Ice Age Trail Campus celebration that's upcoming. And so the segment that they worked on is going to be the first segment of trail built by K-12 students. And then everyone is invited to the Ice Age Trail Campus designation on Wednesday, October 23rd, from 4 to 6 o'clock. The event flyers is linked in that report. There will be a ribbon cutting of that portion of the trail at 4:30. The high school commons is where we'll have some booths set up from different groups that work with the Ice Age Trail within the district. Maybe you've already noticed there are also Ice Age Trail campus signs at every building. OSC is also working on improving the OSC space as we went from the summer into the beginning of the school year with some purchases from the OSC board. And then fundraising, we have Piggly Wiggly has agreed to have OSC be the January roundup. So if you go visit Piggly Wiggly in January, you can round up and they'll go to OSC. So thank you to them for that. And then also OSC is planning an apparel sale through creative marketing. And then the next OSC board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 16th.
Thank you. Personnel Committee report.
Personnel Committee met on Thursday, October 3rd. This is a good opportunity for me to remind everyone that a lot of the items that we discuss and discussed on the agenda tonight spend a lot of time in discussion at the committee level. We talked about the automatic enrollment into the 403B. I think we might have spent 2 personnel meetings doing that, but we spent a lot of time on that and kind of hashed out the concerns that we had, and it was reflected in the decision that we made tonight. We talked about the board community engagement session, which we talked about tonight. We talked about the LCAT strategic plan, which was on our agenda tonight, and then we also, and Vince alluded to this in his report, talked about the school calendar. If I just say a few additional things, and if I misrepresent anything, Vince, please correct me. We were looking at what are called transition days, 2 of them before the beginning of the classes start, with the idea being that by having these, it would allow the students on the first day of school to basically hit the ground running, and a lot of the housekeeping things would be completed on the transition days. We're putting that out in a survey to the community to see what the community feels, if they think that's something that would be of interest. And again, this is where, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that when we were discussing that, the transition days were voluntary and not required, although voluntary with highly encouraged. I think at the high school level, it was kind of looked at, the first transition day would be normally when the freshmen only are there, and then the second transition day at the high school would be all the students. Just, I don't know, Joel may speak to this more, but my assumption is a lot of time the first day of school is just spent with a lot of this housekeeping business, and that would be out of the way and ready to hit the ground running after the official start of school after Labor Day. I get get
Yeah,
that right?
correct. It'd be a lot of the transition things that we do, as you said, the high school has their freshman orientation day, that first day. A lot of the other buildings too are doing a lot of transitional activities, their positive behavior intervention support, things that they're putting in place, the team building, the classroom building, things of that nature. So those are the things that would happen on those days. And they technically would be bound, they're not required to come. Most school districts have had them put in place, have, 98% of their students show up those first 2 days, right, and get so they can hit the ground running. It's just an opportunity. There's a couple of things. One, it allows you to hit the ground running, but secondly, it kind of is that in between where we had, the last couple times we've surveyed, people wanted to start in August, the week before that, and other people want to start after September 1st. It's kind of almost a compromise in between. It's just a couple days, and you still have a 4-day holiday
And we
weekend.
wouldn't have to get it approved by the DPI.
We would not have to get that
Because it's
approved by
not- it's
DPI.
not-
Those 2 days would
it's not
count as
curriculum
summer school,
days.
actually, so it would be included in our summer school report. It would bring
Yeah.
FTE into the district that way.
Would there be
And we would-
busing?
Pardon?
Would there be busing?
There would, yep, we would handle it, everything else, we would not, staff would not have any additional longer calendar.
Okay.
Anything of that nature, it would, we would be able to fit it into our current calendar as is.
It made sense to members
Look
of
at
the
it.
personnel committee to look at this further. That'd be Adam, Heather, and myself, and I guess we'll see what people in the community feel when we get survey results back. But to me, it made a lot of sense, so we'll see. And that was what we took care of at that meeting.
Thanks, Scott. Curriculum.
All right. Well, our curriculum committee met on September 17th with Dr. Carls, and we were able to have Whitney Robarge come, and she talked to us about how the art department was doing, and as we said before, our teachers come, or our area heads come and talk about what's going well, what they might need, what they really need, wishes and that kind of thing. So, but what was kind of fun, a lot of fun, is she has a lot of gifted students in art, and she's excited for some upcoming shows. There are 12 students in advanced studio this year, and typically there are 4 or 5, and these students submit a formal piece to the Capitol Conference show at UW-Madison and have an opportunity to win awards. So that's exciting about, that we don't hear. That's those extra curricular, non-athletic things that people are doing. Non-musical, non-athletic, that's art. Since I now take a watercolor class, I totally appreciate this.
She loves her watercolor class.
Yes, and I won a first at the fair, but my picture wasn't over there. So, anyway, the requests are coming more for this, and anyway, so this is a fun thing. For the K-5 level, teacher also came, and where's her name? She's in here.
It's Tekla who's here.
Tekla was here.
Who's here tonight.
Yes, and she's having a great time with her, with her art students. She manages to get us to go and pick out and really enriches things. She really is very great, but she also could use extra help, and as you can imagine, kindergarten through 5, well, maybe not 5th grade so bad, but those little people need, a little help getting things started and redirection, and so we were talking about, possibilities besides an assistant or a high school TAs or different ways to help her out. So then we had social studies department report by Kelsey Barlow, and anyway, she was talking about, I'm trying to remember here all, the curriculum, studies weekly, 4 to 5, social studies. At that level, teachers are exploring how they can work on additional projects that mirror their social study areas of focus set by the curriculum, so it was just more. Kelsey also shared that with the AP classes, we're exceeding the state average. This is also very exciting. In AP US History, we had 97% of students pass the AP test, which is unheard of because the national average is 72%. And the state average is 78%. They're very thankful for the copy machine, which has made their life a whole lot easier in the pod, and it's a huge support for saving people from running all over the place or having students wander down to the office and have to run back and forth. So let's see, an election year gives them a lot to work on in their classes. And let's see, Mr. Cole is retiring from the distance education area, so there will be some, figuring out to do what the next steps in that program are. And,
We approved the new teacher.
oh, you did,
tonight.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay, and also that the teachers are also interested in becoming advanced placement readers for those tests, because the grading process would also help them, in their teaching process, which is pretty good. So, let me see. Nick Carls also front-loaded some of the components of the Wisconsin Act 20 to us. So,
Act 20, right?
Yep, Act 20, we just keep hearing about it, and it keeps us posted. So,
Yeah, that last one, there was the Department of Public Instruction is going to be creating a policy template for districts to consider as we have to put in place a promotion policy for students coming out of third grade into fourth grade. And so it's just front loading that to the curriculum committee of the board. We don't have that yet, but we're waiting to see it. We don't have to copy the DPI policy, but we're kind of waiting to see what they come up with first.
and our next meeting is it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes, it's tomorrow at 4:30, and the STEM Academy, Lodi Library Plan, new course proposals, and state assessment results are all on that agenda.
Sounds like you guys are gonna be busy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just a highlight there too, Mark Cole, as you said, has retired as our distance education teacher. He has been a cornerstone of our distance education in our Thai exchange program. He and I sat in the back room of a library on over Skype, and he was as sick as I am today. We were in a little room and signing a document back and forth between Thailand to start that program. So Mr. Chat is in town.
Right.
So next Monday, during the annual meeting, we will do we will honor Mark Cole. Mr. Todd is going to come and honor Mark Cole. We wanted to do it tonight, but Mr. Cole is on a fishing trip.
Oh, well,
we want to
good
make
for
sure we can do
him.
that, right? So
Good for
we'll
him.
do it next week. So we will
Okay.
make sure we honor him.
Does he know this is all coming? It's not a surprise, okay.
Well, thank you, that sounds good. And facility and finance did not meet, and policy did not meet.
No?
All right, so our future meetings, so our next regular school board meeting is Monday, November 11th at 5:30 closed session, 6:30 open. Our annual meeting is a week from tonight, Monday, October 21st at 7 p.m. And then right after is a special meeting of the board immediately following the annual meeting, again, October 21st. Our next curriculum committee is tomorrow, October 15th at 4:30, followed by facility and finance at 6 o'clock. And our personnel committee meets on Thursday, November 7th at 4:30, followed by policy, same day, Thursday, November 7th at 6 o'clock. Our staff engagement session at the primary school is October 24th at 3:15. And our second staff engagement session at the middle school is October 30th at 3:45. Please be there, staff. And our community engagement session is
What date is
November
that?
6th
At
at
what
6 o'clock at the high school.
At 7?
No, 6 o'clock. Heather needs to learn how to read. Ugh. I put so much effort, and then thousands of people are gonna show up late.
And we don't need to go back. We don't need to go back into
Yes.
closed, correct?
No. And we do not.
Then I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Oh, who wants it?
Terry.
All right, so motion by Sarah Ramish, second by Terry. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes 6-0. We are adjourned.